Hey guys, what's up? It's Zain. Um, Today I wanted to just talk about the Amber Guyger trial and express my thoughts on it and what I thought of it in general. I will say this that towards the end of it, towards the end of the sentencing phase, when everything came about and when the judge was going over the sentencing phase and saying what the sentence was, I did feel a lot of compassion. I did feel a lot of hope, and it felt like two communities came together, if you want to put it that way, the black and white community, if you want to see it as that, right? And just so you guys know, I am not advocating that this was a race thing, nor do I believe this was a race thing. Uh, and I know a lot of you people will say, Zane, it was a race thing, or you will say it wasn't a race thing. I just don't really care if it was or not. I just cared about if what was being done and what had to be done about it, right? I saw it as another person, and this time it was unique because it was a police officer, right? It was a police officer that was on trial, right? She was being prosecuted, and I just saw it as kind of a police brutality, if you will. I don't really care if it was a black guy or a white guy, right? So I that's how I feel about it. But regardless, my view is not that important, right? I'm here to tell you what how the legal ramifications went down and what I think about it. So to get to the bottom of this, I think that the jury verdict was fair, right? The jury could have decided anywhere from 5 to 99 years on this, right? Um, and they picked 10 years, right? They picked 10 years. Now, if it involves some kind of passion or mistake, it could have been anywhere from 2 to 20 years, right? And that's a whole different category, right? They didn't say it was some kind of mistake or some kind of passion. It was just it was murder, and it wasn't a mistake. It didn't involve any passion, right? So to break down what really happened is to say that when Amber Guyger was being prosecuted, right, the defense argued mistake of fact, right? And I don't think mistake of fact was a good argument, right? Forget everything else. Forget the Castle Doctrine. That was a justification that they offered, right? Mistake of fact could also be a justification. It could also be a defense, right? But at the same time, mistake of fact didn't really apply here. And here's why, right? So Amber Guyger, the prosecution was hoping for a murder conviction, right? And the two most common ways to prove murder is intent to kill and intent to cause serious bodily harm or grievous bodily harm, right? Those are the two elements. And intent to kill was the most common element that was in this case, right? Because she had that intent to kill. She said it on the stand, I had that intent to kill. Now, whether she was in somebody else's home or not is not an element of murder. All right, the element of murder is intent to kill in Texas, right? That's the element, intent to kill. She had that intent. Now, how mistake of fact would play into this is mistake of fact could negate one of the elements of that murder of intent to kill, but there's nothing to negate here because being inside someone's home is not an element you're negating, right? Murder is a specific intent crime. She had that intent to kill, right? It doesn't matter whether she was in somebody's house or not. So you can't really use mistake of fact, right? You can't use mistake of fact because what are you negating? What's the mistake you're negating, right? So that's how the mistake of fact defense wasn't really strong to begin with, right? And that's why they went to trial. Amber Guyger's team went to trial because they wanted to use mistake of fact and go about using mistake of fact. But it wasn't a very strong defense to begin with. So a good example of mistake of fact would be robbery, right? Or not even robbery, theft, right? If you steal if you're alleged of stealing somebody's car, right, and you thought that was your own car, right? You had, let's say that your neighbor has the same car as you, right? Both of y'all drive a yellow Corvette. Now, if you go into that neighbor's car and just take it it's you could argue mistake of fact then, right? You could say that you thought it was your own car, right? And one of the elements of theft is that it has to be somebody else's property. So you can negate that part and say, look, I thought this was my property. This was my property. So I'm negating the element of it being somebody or it belonging to another individual. Belonging to another individual is one of the elements of theft. It has to be somebody else's property. So you can negate that element and say, I thought this was reasonably my car, right? And that's another element. A mistake effect, it has to be a reasonable mistake. Can't be unreasonable, right? And that's reasonable because both of you guys have yellow cars. You thought your neighbor you have a yellow Corvette. Your neighbor has a yellow Corvette. You go in there, you accidentally you take your neighbor's Corvette and you bring it inside your garage and you park it there, right? You take your neighbor's Corvette, but you thought it was your own car. So that's reasonable. You can negate that belonging to another element. But murder doesn't have an element of being on someone else's property or not. So there's nothing to negate. There's no element to negate. There's no specific intent. No certain element to negate. So it didn't work. All right. So, and the jury, I think, got it right based off the elements. It was murder. It was murder. She had that intent to kill as soon as she entered that. She doesn't have to have it as soon as she entered. Right when she saw that individual, Botham Jean, as soon as she saw him, she had that intent to kill, and she acted upon that intent to kill. So murder is complete right then and there, right? And the jury got it right, said it was murder instead of manslaughter, right? She had that intent to kill. She got sentenced to 10 years, and it was anywhere from 5 to 99 years. And if you're going to come on here commenting or going around commenting on social media saying that 10 years is low, it's not about that, right? It's not about sending somebody to jail. Like I said, I was really touched towards the end of it. It's not about sending somebody to jail, right? You can't put jail time on a lost life, right? This individual lost his life. And now to say 10 years, 99, even 99 years is not enough for a life, right? You can't take away 99 years and say this compares to this individual's lost life. You're fooling yourself if you're thinking like that. So whatever the verdict was, even if it was 5 years, it wouldn't have made a difference to me, in my opinion, right? It wouldn't have made a difference to me. And don't come in here saying she's white, she's a cop, or she's a female. That's why she got the privilege or whatever. There is no privilege, right? There is no privilege. The jury decided 10 years. It was within the statutory range. She got that. She got 10 years because that's what the jury decided. She elected her constitutional right to pick 10 years. What I'm more concerned about is whether justice was done or not, right? As a lawyer, as an attorney, that's what I care about. I don't care about it being a racial tension, right? I don't really care about that. Yes, there are some racial tensions, but guys, this, if anything, this was not a case for racial tensions, okay? This case did not involve racial tensions. There are cases that involved racial tensions, but this wasn't it. If you're thinking this is the case that involved racial tensions, I strongly advise you to not think like that. And I don't think this case involved any racial tension. Now, maybe her stereotypes of black men, because she thinks whatever of black men, they're more they're more prone to committing burglaries, and she thought that this guy was a burglar. I don't know if she immediately saw the guy or not, right? I don't know if she saw this guy and was able to tell if he was black or not, right? But regardless, guys, this wasn't a case about racial tension. This was a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake of fact, right? It was not a mistake of fact. You can't say this was a mistake of fact, but it was a mistake on her part, right? It was a reasonable mistake, but it wasn't, by legal definitions, it was not a mistake of fact. A mistake and a mistake of fact are complete different things. It was a mistake on her part on a personal level, okay? But she did not qualify for it being an actual mistake, as the law puts it. And I gave you the definition as how the law puts it, right? So, regardless to say, guys, the jury got it right. If Amber Guyger, she deserved what she got, if that's what you're looking for. If some people are looking for that she should have gotten this, she deserved what she got, because she admitted she was guilty, right? She admitted she was guilty because she did have that intent to kill. It was definitely murder, no way around it. Definitely murder. She wanted a jury trial, right? And she pretty much admitted she was guilty. She elected that jury trial. She got her punishment, and everything else is that's what it calls for. Everything else was resolved appropriately. So she knows she was guilty, right? And however, I don't blame her for going on trial and trying to get acquitted by the jury. Why? Because if they could have had a strong, decent argument for mistake of fact, maybe I'm missing something, right? Maybe I don't know what other arguments they could have had for mistake of fact, right? So it was worth a shot. It was worth a try, but she was guilty. She got what she deserved. And I hate to put it this way, that she got what she deserved, right? If she would have gotten 45, if she got 45 years from the jury, she got what she deserved, because that's what the jury decided. That's what the law decided. The mistake of fact defense did not apply to her. The Castle Doctrine wasn't a strong defense anyways, right? She could have gone to trial and raised other defenses, right? But they decided to stick with that. And if the law could have showed that she was innocent, she could have been innocent. And if she was acquitted, good. I would have been happy. I would have been just as happy as I am today that she got 10 years, right? Even if she got acquitted, if she got acquitted, I would have still been saying she got what she deserved, right? She got what she deserved. She had she acted justifiably, and she did what she was supposed to do, right? And that's pretty much it, guys. Look, guys, the jury got it right. I don't think this was a racial tension case. And if anything, this was not a racial tension case like other cases have been. I just don't see the racial tension. I don't see the racial tension. I don't see the planning of it. Her having that motive of it being a racial tension. Now, there are some cases that are racially motivated, right? But this, if anything, this was a weaker case. I know some people try to make it seem like it was. And even if it was, guys, even if it was, when I go into the courtroom, or when any other attorney goes to the courtroom, hopefully they do the right thing, right? I know I do. Hopefully other attorneys, other jurors don't see it as a black and white thing, because truthfully it's not. It's really not a black and white thing. And superficially you might think it's a black and white thing, but I'm here to tell you, look, I'm here to figure out what happened, if the law applied to the facts, and what we can do from here. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. If you have any questions, if you don't understand something, or if you want to talk about it, let me know what you guys think. If you guys think this was racially motivated, I'd love to hear why you think this was racially motivated. Or if you think that I'm maybe misunderstanding something, or I got it wrong, feel free to comment. And you know me, I'm gonna rebut everything I don't agree with, and I may even right back and let you know what I think. So yeah, guys, that's it. Hooray for Dallas County. You know, I really passionate about Dallas County. I enjoyed everything. I sat there and watched the pretty much the whole sentencing phase, and I'm glad how it turned out. At the end of the day, I was really happy how the two communities could come together. You know, again, nothing about the two communities, if it is a racial tension or not, I don't care about that. You know, like I said, they came together, they made it happen. Everybody was forgiven, and it was something that God inspired. You know, it was something that was meant to happen. It was meant to happen in Dallas County. All right, so peace, guys. I am out.